What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you my linebacker rankings for the 2021 NFL season. Let me tell you, at the end of the day, I think this list was probably the hardest because there are some very good linebackers in the NFL, but it's really hard to rank them. So this is one where I definitely am going to understand. There's a guy that on here at 6 that you could probably have at 1. There's a guy on here at 1 that you could probably have at like 5. So I definitely would not disagree with pretty much anyone's take unless it's blatantly stupid. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with our honorable mentions, A.J. Johnson of the Broncos is a very, very, very good run defender and then a very, very bad pass defender. And I think that kind of balances him out to be worthy of an honorable mention here. Still a very solid, smart linebacker. He's just always kind of lacked athletically. Obviously up there in age as well, so that kind of limits him. But, like I said, very, very good run defender, though, so I feel like he still had to make the list here. C.J. Mosley, who, has kind of been declining a bit, dealing with some injuries and stuff, but at the end of the day, I still think is a top-level linebacker in the NFL. I'd still take him over a lot of other guys, so he is here at number 12. And then number 11, we have Dante Hightower, who opted out last year. I really don't know if he's going to do anything special when he comes back, but he's still been a top 12, 13 linebacker in the NFL for a while now. Could have been on the top 10 4 or 5 years ago, but I feel like he's not that good anymore, but he's still a very good linebacker. So those are honorable mentions. Moving on to number 10. We have Myles Jack from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Played 14 games last year, 69.1 PFF grade, 84 tackles, 1 sack, and 1 pick. Myles Jack started out really, really hot and then just pretty much gradually cooled as the season went on. He was very solid for the most part last year. He's a solid all-around linebacker. I think he's a really nice piece on that Jacksonville defense and stuff. So I think some people overrate him a little bit, but I think 10, obviously he's still a top 10 linebacker on this list. So Myles Jack here at number 10 for me. I can understand why you have him higher or lower, but I just feel like this is probably the right placement for him. Number 9, we have Devin White of the Buccaneers. I want to put him so much higher, but I can't at the end of the day. He played 15 games last year. 43.4 PFF grade, not good at all. But he did have 95 tackles, 9 sacks, no picks. But, obviously, the numbers besides the PFF grade are obviously very nice. And you can see it when he's playing. This guy is really, really good, very athletic, and super fast. I do think he is going to be one of the better linebackers of the next 10 years. But I had to lower him because, he's far from a good run defender, I will admit that, and the PFF grade shows that. He's still on the list. I think he has a very bright future. I think he'll be a very good linebacker. He can be a top 5 guy next year, but that PFF grade is just a little hard to ignore when you have some very good linebackers on here. So Devin White comes here at number 9. Number 8, we have Roquan Smith for the Bears. Started all 16 games, had a 67.2 PFF grade, 109 tackles, 5 sacks, and 2 picks. Roquan Smith was really, really good last year. I don't know if he got All-Pro, but he really did deserve it if he didn't get it. So, all around, Roquan Smith is a great linebacker. I think he's kind of just on that fringe of being like an elite linebacker. I don't think he's quite there yet, but I think he'll be there probably next year. If not, then definitely the year after that. Roquan Smith is a super athletic, super quick linebacker. Still really love his game. I just feel like there were 7 other guys that I think I would take before him, but I still do really love Roquan Smith, and he is still a great, solid linebacker for the Bears. Number 7, we have Darius Leonard. I feel like he's been a little bit overhyped ever since his rookie season. Obviously, his rookie season was fantastic, but I don't think he's a top 5 linebacker, but I still think he's top 10. 14 games, 72.6 PFF grade, 93 tackles, 2 sacks and 0 picks. Like, the numbers don't pop out, especially compared to his rookie year. He is still a solid linebacker, though. I feel like people either really overrate him or really underrate him. He's either a top 3 linebacker or not even top 15. I feel like he's right in the middle. I really like Darius Leonard. He's a great run defender as well. He's not the best in pass. He is good in pass coverage, but he's not elite compared to some of these other guys. So, I understand why some people don't like him as much, but I still think he's worthy of this number 7 spot. Number 6, we have Eric Kendricks. I want to put him higher, but I just can't. Now, I think this guy is still majorly underrated. He's far from a household name, but he's actually a very, very good linebacker. 11 games last year, 82.6 PFF grade, 77 tackles, no sacks, and 3 picks. And I mean, that was in 11 games. So if he played a full 16-game season, I mean, could have had some sacks and maybe even more than 3 picks. 3 picks was tied for the league, leading the league as a linebacker. So obviously a very good season. He's also a very, very good run defender. I think he's a big piece of what holds that defense even close to being as good. Like take last year where the defense sucked. He was the only reason that they weren't like god awful. Like, because they were pretty bad, but they weren't like god awful. And if they ever were, I mean, this guy was at least playing well. And obviously it hurt them when he wasn't playing. So Eric Kendricks is a very good linebacker, and I think 6 is a deserving spot for him here. Number 5, we have Demario Davis, another one guy who's pretty underrated. He's a household name. I feel like a lot of people know him, but they really don't know how good he is. Started all 16 games for the Saints, 78.1 PFF grade, 88 tackles, 4 sacks, and no picks. But Demario Davis is actually one of the better linebackers in the NFL. Great run defender, also a great pass defender, even if the stats don't show it. All around, he's a very solid guy. He stays healthy, he stays consistent, and he's a consistent leader on that Saints defense. He's a big reason why they're good so much of the time, and I really like Demario Davis. I think that he doesn't get enough hype as that he really deserves, so I think 5 is a good spot here for him. Number 4, we have Deion Jones. Started all 16 games for the Falcons last year at a 68.7 PFF grade, 83 tackles, 5 sacks, and 2 picks. Deion Jones is the sole reason and the sole reason alone that Falcons defense is not like allowing 100 points a game. Deion Jones is a very, very good player. He's starting to decline a little bit. I think, a couple years ago he could have been number 1, but still puts up great production, gets the sacks, gets the picks, gets the tackles, great run defender, great pass defender. I think naturally he gets bring down a little bit because his defense does suck so much, but he's the only reason why that Falcons defense isn't letting up like 50 points a game. He's a very good linebacker and still one of the best in football, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for that, even if that Falcons defense has overshadowed him for, really not letting people see how good he is. So Deion Jones at number 4 here. Number 3, we have Bobby Wagner. Maybe this will make a little people mad. I think a lot of people have him as the consensus number 1, but I really don't feel that way anymore. I mean, he started all 16 games, 83.2 PFF grade, 106 tackles, 3 sacks, no picks. He was still very good. I mean, again, I'm still listing him as the 3rd best linebacker. Just because he's not number 1 does not mean I don't think he's good. He's still the 3rd best in my opinion. Stays healthy, great run defender, great pass defender, gets the numbers. I just don't think he's like as good as he used to be. He's still a very, very good linebacker, but I don't think he's like his elite self anymore. Age is definitely starting to get up there a bit for Bobby Wagner. He's a big reason why that Seahawks defense plays well at times when they do, but it's kind of rare when they do. I think he's great, but he's not one of those players that like elevates an entire unit. But still obviously an elite linebacker in the game. So I don't have him number 1, but I think 3 is still a great placement here for Bobby Wagner, our first 4-star linebacker of the video. Number 2 is Lavonte David. Started all 16 games last year, 81.5 PFF grade, 94 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 pick. All the numbers at first glance would say he's not as good as Bobby Wagner, but like he is. I'm sorry. Like I think he's better. I think Lavonte David is honestly one of the most underrated players in the game. He's not a household name to most people, and truly he is a super, super, super talented linebacker. I think he naturally makes Devin White play a lot better than really he should. He gets pressure. He's also a great run defender as well as an elite pass defender. He's arguably the best pass defending linebacker in the league. Boasts some really good stats, although like they're not as good as like say Bobby Wagner. Still really good, and I think Lavonte David is the 2nd best guy in the league all around. I think when you put it together, I think he makes more of an impact than Wagner does. Plays on a better defense, sure, but I think he elevates the players around him enough to where I think he's deserving of the number 2 spot. But our number 1 spot, and maybe this might surprise a few people, unless you like look at PFF and stuff, is going to be Fred Warner of the 49ers. Only in his 3rd year there with the 49ers, but in 2020 started all 16 games, had an 88.6 PFF grade, which by far and away was the best linebacking PFF grade. Number 2 was Bobby Wagner with 83. So Fred Warner was better than the second best linebacker by 5 whole PFF points, which is a pretty insane gap. 91 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 picks. All around, I feel like Fred Warner is easily the best linebacker in the game right now. He gets pressure. He picks off balls. He is amazing in pass coverage, but also a very, very good run defender. Stays healthy, stays consistent. Fred Warner's on his way to a really, really solid career right now. He's not quite a household name yet, but like if he has another season of similar production, he will be, because Fred Warner is an incredibly talented player, and I think he's pretty easily the best linebacker in the NFL right now. But that is going to be my list for linebacker. We just have to do corner and safety next, and then we're done with this little series. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.